love to go visit you too. Business trip ideas, right? So I'm going to start where we left off yesterday, because I really, really want to talk to you guys about really focusing on those things to be careful about. I just kind of felt like I didn't lean into that enough when it comes to putting the people in the right place. And it's just make or break. And I can tell you, you can do the work that I'm teaching you today, but if you don't understand who to put in the right seat, it will be all the difference in the world to you. So really matching people with their personal strengths is so important in this arena, right? So think about what you just don't need to look at like when we talk about intelligence, we always think in terms of like our book knowledge, but I want you guys to also think in terms of their emotional knowledge, right? Their social emotional IQ as well. I hired somebody for one of the first people I hired in a supervisor position. I love her. She is a wonderful person. But the problem for me was she didn't have the social emotional capacity to be able to take the job. She just couldn't. She intelligent as just so intelligent, but she couldn't handle the job, right? So it's not just looking at who is a great teacher. It's really paint the whole picture. And understand your staff is going to be coming to them for a lot. They're going to have to be good at multitasking. They're going to have some great people skills. We have a client that we're working with, and they promoted somebody who doesn't get along very well with others and says some pretty demeaning things when they're under pressure, right? They're a wonderful, sweet person, but high pressure situations tend to make them say the wrong thing, right? And they kind of get mean. So you have to really watch who you're putting, what seat you're putting on the bus, right? And sometimes the right person may not have the skills, but I will tell you 100 times over, I would rather hire the right person with no skill than the wrong person with all the skill in the world, right? Because remember, we can teach skills, but you can't change who a person is. They are who they are, especially if they're not willing to change. I know people do change and they do up level in their life, but we can't force it. Christina, earlier today, she did a presentation for our mastermind members, and she did a training on just really helping your team to level up, right? And she talked about how hard change is. If you've ever tried to change anything big in your life, like I went on a journey where I lost 160 pounds. Well, I had to change a lot, right? And that was hard. So imagine if it's so hard to change you, how hard is it going to be to change someone else? That's 10 times harder, right? So you have to have people who are willing. And it's really just recognizing the people who do want to up-level their lives. But if you see all this potential in them, but they just don't have the people skills you need, then don't waste your time. You're really just going to end up hurting yourself, and it just really makes things difficult for you. So I wanted to just make sure I stress that before we go on today. I just kind of felt like I skimmed over that, and it is such an important piece. I wanted to make sure that I got all that in for you guys. So does anyone have any questions about that? And at the end of the session today, we can even problem solve a little bit through that if you guys like. Okay, and just feel free to put it in the chat. And you guys know I love the interaction. You guys have been so amazing and wonderful. I love all the chats that have been going on. The questions you've been asking as we go are it's really nice, because if you have a question, I'm sure somebody else does too. So feel free to ask. As I have my chat open as we go, so I can just answer and clarify as we go. Sometimes I just get on such a roll that I realize I kind of get ahead of myself. So do not be afraid to ask me to clarify at any moment. So you need the people. So question 1 today in your workbook is going to be, you do need the right people in the right seats, right? And that goes to those red flag things. Again, looking for ego. Ego can be a killer And if you see someone who has a little bit of power hungry, they probably have a lot more than what they're showing you. And if you give them power, it can really be detrimental. So just really be careful for that. You have to also just really look at, be sure to who aligns with your brand and your culture, right? They have to understand who you are and they have to really align with you. One of the things I want you guys to think about that's kind of hard to think about sometimes is your employees become your brand. They are representing your product, right? Everything we do is a product. Okay, business is business, and everything we do is a product. Your childcare center has a product and a brand. Your employees are representing that. How are they representing that? Some of them are probably doing a phenomenal job. Some of them you're probably just super proud of. They just get it, right? Those are the people that you want to empower. Those are the people you want to be parent facing, really choosing to be in front of people. They really just align with who you are and what you want to see your company. You really want to watch, again, ego. Ego is a big deal here because I can tell you guys right now that pride is probably the number one thing that I see taking people out in life in general. I've had a couple of business coaches myself. And one of the things I like to do in my life personally, in order to up level, is I find that person is at the level I want to be. And I find a business coach that's at that level, right? And then I hire them. And I am a huge believer in business coaching. Business coaching has changed my life personally. Before I got a business coach, I lived in a victim mentality. I thought life happened to me. I didn't understand that life can happen for me. I didn't understand that I do have control over how my staff behaves, over what happens in my life day to day. I just sat back and I waited for everything to happen to me. I was literally going bankrupt, right? And I promise you guys, I'm bringing this back to ego. It's kind of a long way, but I'll bring it back to ego. I was going bankrupt. I was facing bankruptcy. I had a 72-hour eviction notice on my childcare center's door. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I did end up getting a continuation. I was able to fight it. But I went and met my first business coach. And somebody had kept telling me over and over again, you need to hire her. You need to hire her. And I resisted because I didn't have money. I was already going bankrupt. And she was $700 a month. Like, I can't even buy paper towels this week for my childcare center. How on earth am I going to pay someone $700 a month to come help me fix my business, right? To give me the skills that you say I don't have. But one day I realized I'm done. I have no other options. So I went and I met with her. And she gave me a wonderful assignment that at the time, I have to say, when I met with her, she told me to go and cut 10% of my overall expenses. And I remember sitting in my car feeling so hopeless. Like, there's no way. I can't do this. There's not enough. Well, she gave me a tool to use to do it. She told me, this is what you're going to do. Go through your bank accounts, do this, and call me when you're done. So I used the tool she gave me. And as I drove home, and it was about a 45-minute drive home, the whole drive home, I was like, this is never going to work. This is useless. It's never going to work. I'm so slim. I don't even buy, like, I buy generic everything. I do, and I'm telling myself it's never going to work. Not only did I cut 10% by doing the method she taught me, but I cut 17%. And I was able to save my child care. So I hired her, right? I realized that I could not afford not to hire her. I was so afraid of how I was going to pay her. That helped me to realize I can't afford not to hire her. I have to hire this lady. And so I did. I spent the $700 a month. Best decision I ever made in my entire life. It has changed my life, my entire life, not just my business. So over the period of time, she made me realize that I didn't understand business. I was great at home finances. I knew how to run a household. Like this morning during our mastermind, I told you guys how I used to help my children every morning and how efficient my mornings were before school. We didn't have that, oh my God, where's your snooze frenzy, right? That so many of us moms go through. But my business was a disaster. It was a disaster because it's so different, right? Going from this world to that world. And you don't know what you don't know. We just don't. And I had no idea how chaotic my company was until I hired that coach. And it changed my life. So time went on, and I kind of got into equal footing with her, right? And she wasn't growing. And she just kind of stayed stagnant. But her ego was really growing. And when I started with her, I admired her so much for who she was. And she was kind of starting out too. She was so good at what she did. But her ego and her pride just started taking over. And then I saw her business start tumbling backwards. I mean, she is a brilliant woman with an amazing business. But now I start seeing her fall apart. All her employees left her, literally every one of them. Her business partners all left her, and her business fell apart. And it was her ego. It was all ego. So then I found my next business coach. Amazing woman as well, was at that next level that I needed to be at. I hired her, right? I need to be at this level. And again, she just made me level up again. And I found that person that, okay, now I've gotten up to this level in my life. Now I want to be at that level. So here she is. I'm going to hire her. And I did. But then the same thing happened. Fast forward 2 years working with her, and suddenly her ego is out of control. All of her staff is leaving her. Her entire team has left her. And now she's having financial problems. That experience working with my own business coaches made me realize that ego and pride is one of the biggest things that take us down in life. So as I say this to you guys, my advice to you is to watch your own egos, your own pride, and the people that you promote. Look for those prideful traits in people ahead of time. These women were brilliant. They both are brilliant. They were wildly successful. The second one had hit the $10 million mark, but it was just not enough. And the ego just went insane. And I just was so kind of heartbroken and disappointed because these people become like your gurus, right? I mean, it was to the point where on my vision board, I had one of their pictures on my vision board because I needed to show up like I needed to be that CEO. I knew to get my companies to where I wanted them to be, I needed to be a certain type of CEO. And I thought, that's who I'm going to emulate. I need to be like, so I always find that person I need to learn from and really just learn everything they do. I engross myself in the books they write, their podcasts, all the teaching. So I understand how they think so I can up level as a business owner myself, right? So when I saw that shift and change, the loss of authenticity, it was really difficult for me. It's kind of heartbreaking. So that leads me to my next point, is where you have to stay authentic in yourself, right? You cannot let your own authenticity and who you are change. You have to stay within your convictions, and you have to find someone who also shares those convictions. And they are on your team, you guys. You may just not have talked to them yet, but you probably have someone on your team who will fly once you really teach them your convictions. One of the biggest things in business I've learned from my business coaches, one of them, well, both of them came very authentic, and then they felt like they were too big and they had to hide their hearts, right? But don't be afraid to wear your heart on your sleeves. Wear your heart on your sleeves. And I know that's hard for many of us women to hear because it makes us feel weak, right? Sometimes being a woman who wears your heart's out, I mean, we get beat up for it as women a lot of times, but let people see your heart. Because when you do, the right person is going to align with you. And when you see their heart, that's the person you want to give those skills. You want to give them the knowledge they need. You want to really lift them up. But the person who is willing to compromise their own authenticity in order to get a title or to be above people or to have some kind of power, you don't want it. They're not worth your time and energy. They might be the most brilliant person in the world. They might be the best DCE professional you have ever seen. But if it's all about ego, they're going to take you down. It's not worth it. I've seen too many people destroy what they've built based on ego. I think we can all think of that celebrity that basically just ego destroyed their career, right? But the ones that are most endearing to us and stay in the limelight the longest are those ones who don't let all of the success get to their heads. So really just think about that. And really, as I say this, I realize that it's something that we can do to keep our own egos in check as well, right? We can really just not only watch out for those people who are power hungry, who the minute they hear you're going to have a supervisor position, their thought is like, oh, that has to be me. It has to be me. It has to be me. And the only reason it has to be them is because they want power over somebody else. That's not who you want. You want that person who is like, I think I might be able to do this job. I would love to help see our center grow. I would love to help turn our center into the next best version of what we can be. I just want to do what's best for the children. And if I can do more to help our center be more for the children, then let's do it. That's the kind of person you want to hire. So you really want to keep that person who is going to keep their ego under control. The next thing that leads to is someone who is moldable. When somebody is willing to just do what's best for the children, they're going to want to grow. And that's also something that you really want to look at as well, is just think about people who are growth minded. We really want to keep people in our corners that are focusing on growth and development. And I mean personal, because every time you up level as a person in your own life, that's going to come with new skills. It's going to come with a new mentality. How many of you, when we advertised that we're doing a seminar on overwhelm, thought I was going to teach you business practices? Probably not a single one of you, right? When you hear something on overwhelm, all of you think I'm going to say the same old thing that everybody always says. I'm, by education, I'm a psychologist, so I know what's out there in the, take deep breaths and all of those things, right? Which are wonderful, you guys. We were talking about morning routines this morning on how important and vital they are to your mental health. But I know that that's only going to go so far. What's really going to solve your overwhelm is getting these systems into place, becoming a business-minded person. But that's going to take a level of growth for you. That isn't going to just happen overnight. And honestly, taking this webinar that we're doing for you is definitely going to help. But if you're really going to master this, if you really want to become the next step leader, if you're really ready for a change, and those of you know in your heart, those of you who are there know absolutely in your heart that you are ready for a change, then you know you're going to have to up level a little bit more than just creating an org chart, right? You're going to have to make more changes than just having an org chart and some clear expectations. It's going to take you up leveling as a leader as well. Your mindset needs to change. Your practices need to change. This morning in Christina's webinar, was I frozen or am I good? Am I good? Okay. So During Christina's webinar that she taught for our mastermind group this morning, she talked about something that's so hugely important that all of you guys need to know too as you go through this journey. 97% of our actions we take every day come from our subconscious mind. Only 3% are actual conscious thoughts. Do you realize that? I mean, we don't even realize how much we do on automatic. But so much of how you treat your staff, what you're willing to tolerate, the biggest one is what you are willing to tolerate. You never even think about, you guys, you're on automatic. You're literally on autopilot. The only way you're really going to change that is by up-leveling your brain, your mindset, how you are and who you are. The best way you can do that is by really watching the people you surround yourself with. I don't know if you guys know Ed Milet. He is a genius. Love him to death. I just finished reading his book. I'm obsessed with his podcast. But he always talks about, like, one of the recurring things for him is that you are the type. His name is Ed Milet. Christina, you want to put his name in the chat. So he always talks about how your life is a reflection of the 5 people you hang around the most. Think about that. I want you guys to take a moment right now to think about the 5 people in your life that you hang around the most. Where are they in life? Are they where you want to be? Are their attitudes the type of attitude you want to have? Are the way they view life, their success, their lifestyle, are they where you want to be? Right? That's why I hired my business coaches, because they were where I wanted to be. I immersed myself into their programs. I made friends that I still have to this day in the last one that I had, because they're just such higher level people, because I needed to become a higher level person. If you guys go back in my Facebook group to the first videos I did, right? The first videos I started doing 3.5 years ago, I'm a totally different person. But that's because I changed who I'm around, and what is coming into my mind. I chose to feed my brain the things I needed to grow as a person. So as you're choosing these people, you too need to choose people who are willing to grow as a person. You need to be willing to grow, or it's not going to change. That is exactly why I created Childcare Business Professionals. I know for me, myself, as an owner, I was so lonely, you guys, not just because I knew the power of what coaching did for me and how it changed my life, but also the power of being in the room with higher level people. When I realized the power behind that and the loneliness I felt like I was an island. And I'm sure you leaders, whether you're an owner or a director, you feel the same. There's no one who really, really understands what we go through. Even as you guys create this org chart, you're still going to get to a point where it's just lonely, because you should never be venting down, right? You should always be venting up. But sometimes there is no up. There is nobody above us to vent to. My husband got to the point where he told me at one point, I am done. I am done. I don't want to hear it anymore. If you keep complaining to me about your staff, then I want you to sell the center. So I had to stop talking to him. At that point, I had nobody to talk to. And then I found my first business coach. And Christina actually worked for her at the time. And she was somebody who was a sounding board for me. And for the first time, I felt like, oh my God, I'm not alone anymore. I didn't even realize how alone I was until I had somebody in my corner to talk to. So when we created Childcare Business Professionals, one of the things we did is we decided to do these, we call it Coffee with Evelyn. And I forgot the other one. But basically, twice a week, we do office hours. And all we do is we come together and we're there for each other. That's it. We come together on Zoom, just like you guys are here. But my people come to me with questions and we work through things together. There's times where I need support and I need help. I had something happen at my own center 2 months ago that was devastating. It was devastating. My own niece ended up in a full body cast from my childcare center. And things happen, right? When you're in business as long as me, that's going to happen. Accidents happen, but it's devastating, you guys. And any of you who've had a major child injury knows it is devastating. And to see my little niece, my niece the best part of the whole thing was her mom was a stay-at-home mom. And she was in that point where she kind of wanted to go back to work. Her family was really struggling, but she was terrified to put her child in childcare. So I told her, well, she's coming to me. She's going to be so safe. She's going to be with me in my center. And then fast forward 6 weeks, and her daughter is in a full body cast. That is so hard to take on my own. But I was able to go to our cohort of leaders and tell them, you guys, I've got something heavy for me right now. And they came alongside me and gave me the support I needed. But that's what we provide for everybody out there, because you guys, you need support. Going through this is not going to be easy. And you're going to have team members who are going to want to leave. The other thing I wanted to do is on seminars like this, I don't want to just give you this information, send you on your way, and just hope you get it right. I want to provide a forum for you where you can really learn everything in depth. And if you have further questions, you can come and ask. You can ask for help. What we've taught you guys this week isn't even a tenth of what I teach in Childcare Business Professionals Mastermind. This isn't even a tenth of how much we can transform your center. I know if you take nothing but what I taught you this week, it can change your life if you really put it into place. It can completely change how much you have to work. You can probably shave 10 hours a week off your schedule if you do nothing but use the tools I gave you this week, that I'm still giving you, because we still have the rest of today and tomorrow, right? But that isn't even a tenth of what we have to offer inside the program. I'm so passionate about helping ECE, which is why I developed all this. But there's just not enough time for me to teach in 5 hours all the things you need to put into place, like my onboarding. That is probably the biggest one too. This is the biggest, like, life-changing in my count. There's so many. And as I'm thinking about it and what my clients tell me changed their life the most, there's like so many going through my head right now. But there's so much that I can't do it in 5 hours. And it wouldn't be fair to my clients and the people in our mastermind for me to give it all away. But if you're at that point where you're just ready to up level your life, if you are ready for that next level, if you're just tired of just being that hamster on that wheel, because I know I was there, I was the hamster on the wheel once too, join us. Let your concierge know, and we can help. We are definitely here to help. But you do need to be moldable also. And so does the person that you want to grow. We also do consider your entire team a member of Childcare Business Professionals, your management team. So if you have a director or somebody in mind that you're ready to level up, they're welcome to join our trainings and our office hours as well. So our membership is not just for you, it's for your team. And we're here to help. We have several of our members who bring their directors, and we end up really just coming alongside a lot of different people. And we also have, like, Lisa here for HR. Christina is a mindset coach. We have Becca Polly, who is a financial expert for business finance. We've got a lot. We had somebody do an SBA presentation a couple weeks ago. We have a lot to offer. So let us know if you guys need the help. So executing is one of the most important things that you need to do, and really just getting those things dialed in, get the help of your team, and following through as well, and making sure you're holding people accountable. Once you give them your job descriptions, how are you going to keep that going? That's a huge important part, right? That's where it becomes really, really important for you to have different things like employee reviews. And an employee review is not somebody or something that you should just be doing once a year. An employee review should be happening quarterly. And it's probably not quite what you think. It's a lot of self-reflection as well, right? It's not just you filling in checking boxes. That's not an employee review. I know that's what we've been taught it is, but there's so much more to an employee review than just checking boxes. It should be them analyzing themselves. How do they think they're doing? What do they think they're struggling with? They may think they're struggling with something that they think is excellent. One of the biggest things I learned and just shocked me so much, I had one employee review where this one teacher was really struggling in an area where I thought she was struggling, and I thought she wasn't doing a great job. And then there was another area that I thought she was really excelling. Well, when she did her self-evaluation, her perception was completely opposite of mine. So now I know I need to really approach this review differently, right? I can't really, I don't want her to feel attacked. So if I'm doing the checkbox normal employee review, everybody always does, she's going to feel attacked, and I'm going to make her feel defeated, and I'm going to deflate her to the point that she is going to lose her confidence, right? So employee reviews should be done quarterly. They should be really just a way where you're helping lift them up and helping them to grow. So as you guys are implementing your org chart, your job descriptions, your policies that you're going to come up with, you need to make sure that you are holding everybody accountable. When people are not living up to your expectations, you need to hold them accountable. You need to have conferences with them. You need to write them up. You have to have a system in place, right, that will get them to that point that you need them to be. You also, and sometimes though it is unintentional. That's why you have to have constant conferences and be just in constant communication, constantly communicating. One of the things we teach too is how to do those tough talks, basically, with employees. That is for any of my mastermind members. We do have the Fierce Conversations workshop we did a couple weeks ago. And that basically teaches you how and helps you learn how to construct those difficult conversations so that they're not so difficult, right? They shouldn't be. And there should not be anything you guys are afraid to address. You have to speak your truth. One of my favorite authors, which I'm sure if I look over there, I can't believe I'm forgetting her name again. She's like, I just love her. Susan Scott. Susan Scott. She says that where you are today is the result of one conversation at a time. So you cannot fear having conversations. You guys have got to stop fearing. Some of you might be very afraid to implement what we're talking about this week, but you have to shed that fear. You have to shed that fear. If you are going to take control of your center, if you are going to take control of your life, because I'm sure for a lot of you, your center is controlling your lives. You cannot be afraid to hurt your employees' feelings. You cannot be afraid to have conversations, because where you are today really is the result of one conversation at a time. If you really think about it, your conversations got you to where you are today. So when we're afraid to speak up about something, we basically put ourselves in that position. Whenever I'm looking at a problem I have to solve, I have a series of 7 questions I ask myself, right? And I start with, what is the most important thing I need to be looking at right now? But one of the questions I ask myself is, how have I contributed to this problem? Because I can guarantee you, if you're having a hard time in your center controlling your time, if your staff isn't listening to you, if they're kind of doing things on their own, if they aren't showing you respect and not really doing what you've asked, like they're telling you when they can work and when they can't work, or they're moving furniture around without your approval, things like that, it's really comes down to the fact that, I mean, they don't respect you, for one, but it really comes down to the fact that you have this fear of holding them accountable, and you can't have that fear, right? And you have contributed to that. So when I was in that position once upon a time in my career, and I asked myself, how did I contribute to this? I had to admit it's because I didn't hold them accountable. I didn't have expectations that were clear. It's not their fault if you don't have expectations. A lot of what you guys are dealing with and the stressors in your center, it's your fault. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth. I'll tell you guys, whenever I'm training teachers on children's behavior, and I just did a couple of weeks ago, I did a training on really just taking control of children's behavior issues in the classroom. And it was actually a hybrid training I did that involved teachers and parents together. So it was open to parents so that they could really learn together about behavior issues. Well, one of the things I always say that every time the adults just cringes, 90% of a child's behavior is the adult's fault. It is not the child's. But the same goes true for your staff. 90% of their behavior is the leader's fault. It is not your staff. And that was a very hard pill for me to swallow. But until I swallowed that pill, I had a staff that ran me. I didn't run them. Absolutely. And I think that's probably about the time that Christina met me, 9 years ago. They were running me. I wasn't running them because I wasn't a good leader. I didn't have leadership skills. I was a manager. I wasn't a leader. So that's part of the reason that I'm so passionate about the work we do at Childcare Business Professionals, because I know how awful it feels. I do. I just know what it feels like to wake up every morning and dread going to my center. And it doesn't have to feel that way. You just need the leadership skills. And none of us, we weren't trained for this, you guys. We don't have MBAs. I have a client that had an MBA and she didn't even have the skills yet. Early childhood education is like no other industry, right? So it's like nothing. I don't care. You guys have no idea how many people I meet who come into childcare and they're like, but I have my MBA. Like, yeah, but this is not like it. Early childhood education is not like the rest of the business world. That's part of the other reason I started Childcare Business Professionals, because there are a lot of business coaches out there you can choose from, right? There's a ton of programs. But a few of the things I found was that either they didn't own centers. They had no idea what it was like to be in the trenches. They had no clue what it was like to own and actually be a director, right? They had no idea. Or they didn't know childcare at all. So when I became a childcare business coach, that was what I decided. I thought, you know what? I'm going to start a company where I take all this business knowledge. I mean, the best business coaches I ever met were not in the childcare space, right? And I decided I'm going to take all this knowledge. I'm going to turn it into childcare specific business knowledge, not just general, but that works for our industry. And I use my center as a guinea pig. I've owned a total of 4 centers altogether, but right now I'm down to 1 and I'm opening a second one. But I use my program as the guinea pig of what works. And what I teach now is what I've used and proven to work. So I know it works, right? So I took it and made it childcare specific. And that's really what makes Childcare Business Professionals different as well, is it actually has an incubator. It's a real center with real employees and real children and real biting, right? The real things that are happening, and a child in a full body cast. It's the real thing. But that wasn't something I could find anywhere else. So I decided, okay, well, then I guess I'll create it. I'll just do it myself. So that's what we do now. So if any of you guys, if this resonates with any of you and you just know you need that relief, let us know. I am a God girl, and that's one thing you guys will know. My teaching isn't all Christian based, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention. And basically, I do what God calls me to do. And He told me that there were so many owners and directors out there who need relief. And so He just really put it on my heart to help and really just relieve that strain. And there's a lot of you out there who are doing the same work, right? God put it on your hearts, or whatever it is that you believe in. It might be the universe, but somewhere along the line, it was laid on your heart to be there for these children, to create a better world for the children. But in leadership, somewhere along the line, that gets stolen from us. The exhaustion of being a leader in ECE can be so heavy that it gets stolen from us. And suddenly these children that we were so passionate about start to almost look bad to us. I know Stephanie and I had a conversation, gosh, it's probably over a year ago, about how so many ECE leaders, they look at them as bad, right? The energy, but it's not the children, you guys. So sometimes when you just think like, oh, these kids, I mean, I go through these Facebook groups and sometimes I'm horrified at how people talk about children. It's not the children. What it is it's our industry's exhaustion. Our industry is exhausted. You guys are exhausted. We are burnt out. We are overwhelmed. And that's why I want to bring this relief to you guys. I want to see these org charts in action. I want to see you guys have really, really good employee descriptions, right? Their responsibilities, just really detailed. I want each one of your employees to have a detailed annual calendar so you no longer have to chase them over what their Halloween projects are going to be or what is their Halloween party going to look like. I'm sure you guys are exhausted and dreading these holidays coming up because you know the amount of work that's about to be put on your shoulders. But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. You can still enjoy the holidays too without stressing about how much more work you have to do. It's just a matter of putting the right systems in place. And you deserve it. The children, more than anything, deserve it. They deserve leaders that aren't exhausted, that still have passion for them. They deserve for you to go back to the reason that you fell in love with ECE in the first place. So take the time to do the work. You guys deserve it. You're worth it. A lot of times we're so afraid of investing, whether it's time or money. We're so afraid of investing in ourselves, right? Because it makes us feel selfish, especially if you're a mother. As women, we often, and even men, not just women, but if you're a parent, a lot of times we get this guilt for giving ourselves time or spending money on ourselves. But honestly, the best gift you can give your children, whether it's your personal children or the children that you care for, is to take care of you. It really is. It's to take care of yourself by giving yourself the time to start making a fire time. Shut your office doors. If you have to, go home and work for half a day every week, right? If that's what it takes, do what you need to do in order to find that relief that you deserve. Because I can guarantee you, when you do these things, when you start investing in you, you are going to show up as a better leader. You're going to show up as a better parent. You're going to have a better center. But oftentimes the neglect that we put into ourselves ends up making us really produce the negative outcomes that are coming about around us. So if you guys have been following me for a long time, you guys know my husband died last year. And as I preach this to you, I can tell you from firsthand experience how impactful this really is. I did not realize, and I have a degree in psychology. I studied neurological psychology for 14 years. Okay. I didn't know that when you are really pushing yourself and pushing yourself and pushing yourself, you're actually damaging your brain. Now, 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with a neurological disease. I have a neurological disease I will have for the rest of my life because I pushed myself too hard and worked too hard. Okay, I thought I knew it. I thought I knew everything I needed to know about working too hard. But when my husband got sick, I became his full-time nurse. And I also ran both my companies. And so I got so good at juggling, right? I got so good at finding every second of my day some way I can manipulate and really just balance my life that you'd be amazed at the things I can do from a car. at this point in the Starbucks line waiting to order, right? How much work I get done. What I didn't know is the trauma that I was going through because of everything I was juggling was actually causing a brain injury in me. And now, fast forward a year after my husband's death, and I'm actually being treated with a traumatic brain injury. Interestingly enough, when I thought about this, I realized so many of you are probably pushing yourself that hard. It doesn't, just because I was in a position where I lost my husband, it doesn't take losing something that big for you to push yourself. Some of you are scared you're losing your center, right? Some of you guys are scared that your center's just out of control, your staff, you're so understaffed. There's a lot of fear. I know you are under a lot of fear. But what you don't realize is that fear and that frenzy that you put yourself in because you're so desperately trying to get things done is actually causing brain damage. It's crazy, right? I'm at the point now where I have to take time off every month just to let my brain recover. Our brains are a muscle. Just like if you were training for a marathon, you would let your legs rest, right? We understand that our legs can only go so far and then they need to rest. But we don't understand that for our brains. We don't give our brains the same courtesy, right? We just push it and push it and push it until it just can't anymore. And that was the position I put myself in just a few months ago. My neurologist and my psychologist basically had to come together and say, Evelyn, you got to take some time off. Like, get off the grid. You have to stop. So I want to ask you guys, how many of you are at that point where you're so exhausted? It doesn't have to be that way, you guys. Let us help. We would love to come alongside you and help. So get a hold of your concierge and ask them how we can help, because I don't want to see any of you in that position. It's why I started this company, so I could help more of you. I know God let me go through what I went through so that I could come alongside ECE and help us find relief. God has just placed that so strongly on my heart that we are literally soldiers for children in our day and age. And we need you. We need you to not burn out and not quit. The children need you. So let us know how we can help. So if you guys watched, I did a live video, a couple of, oh gosh, it was like an hour
ago. Can I cut in really quick before
Absolutely.
you do that?
Yes.
So I just want everyone to know, like, if you reach out to your concierge, let them know that you need help and this is for you. And I want you guys to know, if Mandy is your concierge, she is in the eye of the storm. We know she's okay. We got word she's okay, but she is not able to connect. So if she is your concierge, I am going to go through her text. I'm going to start responding to people and get in touch. So if you haven't heard from her, please don't worry. I will get in there. I will help you guys out. I'll answer questions. I'll do whatever you need. So just hold tight, and we're getting through it. So just pray for Mandy that she continues to be safe and that she's okay and that she gets through the storm, and we will definitely get you taken care of if she is your concierge. So please don't worry. We do have a way to connect with you.
Yes. And really, please help us keep Mandy in your prayers. She has reached out to her mom, but none of us have heard from her. And she's literally, her house is literally located right where the worst of Hurricane Ian hit. So we're all very concerned about her. And yeah, we will have somebody else in touch with you. So if you haven't heard from Mandy, that would be why. So if any of you guys need, you can also reach out to Lisa or Christina, but we will try to make sure you get everything you need as well. So I did say on a message earlier that I recorded that because the interaction has been great, I've been getting messages, and my girls came to me and told me that your interaction has been amazing this time around, and you guys are really gleaning a lot of information from us. So today, I want to offer you guys something really special, something I've never done before. If anyone wants to join Childcare Business Professionals today, we are going to throw in a free ticket to our summit. If you guys don't know, we're doing the Childcare Business Summit coming up at the end of next month. And I know Lisa's like, what? Because this is huge, you guys, what we're giving away. But we're doing it next month. And I really think it's just going to be a game changer. The way I've constructed the summit is to really help you guys to learn how to really level up. I'm bringing people that you have never seen in this industry to ECE because they are thought leaders who really have just a different way of thinking. And one of my big things, and the reason I'm trademarking the term ECE revolution right now, is because I know we need to level up if we're going to survive what's coming, and just to be really showing up for what's best for these children, right? So I've invited some people who are really next level thinkers. But the other thing is, I want you to rest and I want you to restore. So we are also creating the summit in a way that you can really re-energize and really just have some time to relax. So one of the things that I absolutely hate is going to these summits where you're at this beautiful location. Our summit is on the Gulf Coast, so it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. And basically, I remember going to one in particular, you guys, that I was right across the street from the ocean. It was beautiful. It was in Florida, right? And they started at 7 a.m. and we went till 6 p.m. And every day I would just look at our breaks and I'd look over at the ocean like, I want to go out there so bad. But we were so busy, we never had time to enjoy it. So we wanted to make sure not to do that to you. So at the summit, we have time where we're ending early and we're actually organizing fun activities so you have time to rest as well. So not only are you going to really learn a lot of new life skills to help you level up your thinking, but we're also going to give you time to just relax because you need to renew your brains. ECE people are exhausted. We are exhausted. So for me right now, in the time and history we are today, it is just important for me to help you guys find rest and relief from this exhaustion as it is to help you learn. Okay, so because I'm so passionate about that, we will be giving you free tickets to the summit. So if anyone is interested in signing up today, let us know. As you guys saw, the tickets are $670. That's a lot of money for me to give away. So I'm only opening this offer for you guys for 24 hours. Okay, so by the time our next session starts tomorrow, we will not be offering this anymore. I can't do this for so many. So for those of you who are live today, you guys are going to have, you're definitely going to get an up on the people who end up watching the replay because you'll probably be the first to get those free tickets. So, and I can only afford to give so many away. So let us know if that is something you guys are interested in. And then for today, we are still giving away. So what we are giving to you guys today for the word of the day in the packet is going to be a copy of my org chart. So we are actually going to give you an org chart so that you have mine to use as a template in order to create your own. Let's see, and I see a couple of you guys are interested. Fantastic. Make sure we let your concierge know so they can hook you up and make sure you get that free ticket if you sign up today. Can
I just let you know, when you sign up, I will be able to keep track of who's signing up. I will have a list, and I will be sending you a link to purchase your summit ticket with a 100% coupon, and you'll put that number in and it'll be free of charge. So you'll get your receipt and you'll have everything at no charge. So if you sign up between, in the next 24 hours, you don't have to do anything. I will make sure, you just have to sign up sign up for the membership through the link. I've put it in the chat a few times. So go up there and find it. If you can't find it, we can drop it again. But once you sign up, I will send you a link for the summit ticket so that you can make sure to get that for free.
So, and I know we are going to go, oh, you know what? We're giving you guys the org chart and I didn't give you guys, let me give you all and we're going to go a little bit over. So I totally respect your guys' time. I know if you need to go ahead and go watch the replay later for the rest of this. But let me go over. So today's answers are you need the right people in the right seats. And then be sure to consider who aligns with your brand and your culture, who will keep their ego under control, and who is moldable. And the word of the day is you. Is you, as in each and every one of you. And then really quick too, I just want to answer, there's so many questions coming in about the membership. So let me talk about that a little bit for those of you who want to hang on and listen to this. So we have two different types of membership. We have an emerging leaders membership. So this is really geared towards home providers and people who are newer to ECE who would love to learn how to expand into a childcare center. Or even to take their group home into, or their childcare home into a group home where you actually have employees and make it an official business, right? That's called our Building Blocks program. So that's more for emerging leaders. Our second one is our Masterminding Leadership. So this is for owners and directors who need all the things. You're managing people, you're managing, that is where we have everything. We have a membership site that has all the trainings that we've done are all pre-recorded and loaded into that site. We have different modules that we start you on, and you get different trainings, and you basically have access to everything I've created, everything, you guys. My parent handbook, my employee handbook, my new hire training, my onboarding process. I also teach you how to recruit, how to go through the interview process. I basically take it from like when you're recruiting all the way through somebody who's been with you for 10 years. So I have a process from start to finish for everything on that. And what we do is we also, on top of all the pre-recorded trainings I have for you, we meet every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we have a live training from one of our master coaches. And our master coaches include people on marketing your childcare center, the mindset of an owner, human resources for childcare center directors and owners. It's the same, and all of it is for directors and owners. I just tend to say owner because I'm an owner. I do a business training every month, but every Thursday there's a different training for you. And then we have like financing, the understanding your financials every month, right? Every recording is recorded, or every training is recorded. So if you can't make it live, you can watch the recordings. Yes. Everything is recorded. The other thing we do is we offer 2 office hours a week, which are what I was telling you about. It's kind of like, I thought about doing it like a college professor would, right? So we're live on Zoom. You can jump in and jump out however you need to throughout that time, but we're there for an hour and we're there to help you problem solve. That's it. A lot of my members show up, we don't have any problems a lot of times. They just want to hear what your problems are, right? Because what Lisa's problem is today, maybe Christina's problem in a month. So there's so much information gleaned from office hours, and we learn so much from each other. And you never know who's already been through a problem, right? We've had some interesting problems, you guys. We get some interesting problems. We get your typical problems, but sometimes they're pretty heavy and big, and sometimes they're just the normal. I can tell you guys, a couple months ago, I had a 4-year-old mom come in and breastfeed her child, and what do you do, right? So that was a problem I brought to the table. So there are all sorts of problems. We've had that to huge problems, like I have to fire this teacher today. What do I do? So you just, whatever you're working on, you bring it to us, we help you. It might be the homework that you're working on from the mastermind group. You might just say, hey, I watched your training on how to do a beach ball meeting. So I'm about to do a staff meeting. I watched your beach ball meeting training. How do I address this issue? And we'll construct a right there and then. We'll make the outline for your staff meeting. Another good one that we get all the time is I have a parent leadership board at my childcare center. And it basically consists of parents, teachers, and it really just helps us to up level. That's a huge one that we get questions on. So whatever you guys need to work on, we're there twice a week live just to work on it together.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a ton of messages over here, so I'm trying to answer everybody as fast as possible. But so that room rate, they just extended it. It was supposed to, the room rates were supposed to end today and the prices were going up. Because we were doing this, I asked them to extend it. They have extended it to this through the 7th. But if that link's not working, that means I need to get a new link. And we will get a new link and we will send a mass email to everybody who was here today. And we will make sure that you have that information for the resort.
And then we have Anita's asking, our meals are included, right? How often are we feeding everybody, Chris?
We have breakfast. There's a continental breakfast, and we are going to provide some small snacks, and then there's a lunch, and so dinner's on your own. So we provide, breakfast and lunch for Thursday or Friday and Saturday. Thursday is just the evening. We'll have some hors d'oeuvres, get to know the team. We're going to all be mingling with you. So Thursday night is just meet the team, some hors d'oeuvres from 3 to 5, and then Friday and Saturday, breakfast, lunch, and then you're on your own for dinner.
Yeah. So we'll see, we're even feeding you. And then Vanessa asked, you're an in-home provider for 6 years, but an escrow for a building to open a center. Which one of these should I join? So it's really up to you. Now, as a business coach, I'm always going to be working on protecting your money. Okay. So is Kayla still on here? I know she was, but she had to hop off. She's one of our members. It's really up to you. What I would suggest you do is possibly try out our building blocks, because it is less expensive. And then if there's something more that you need, we can move you into Mastermind. I see that Anita, you said and I kind of agree with you, Anita, that Mastermind might be better. The thing about Mastermind, you guys, is everything that is in Mastermind is also in building blocks. Okay, so Mastermind is going to give you everything in building blocks plus the Mastermind. So if you're really not sure and you just know that you need this help, because I tell you, like, if you start on the right foot first, you will save hundreds of thousands of dollars. My first go around, I lost over $1 million, you guys. I mean, literally, I kid you not. And I can't tell you how many nights of lost sleep, which is even more replaceable than the $1 million I lost. But that is one of my biggest goals and why we start building blocks, because I really want to help new owners not make the mistakes I've once upon a time made. Yay, Stephanie!
I know, we have a new member already.
Yay! Yay! Congratulations.
That's so excited. I was waiting for you to stop so we could say yay.
Yay. So Vanessa, I would talk to your concierge to see which one really works best for you. But if you do end up going to Mastermind, you'll get all the stuff in building blocks. It all comes with it. But if you're kind of like, if the money is, if you're a little bit scared, I have no problem with you starting at building blocks, trying it out, and then you can always upgrade. Any other questions before we sign off, guys? I'll give you guys like 30 more seconds. I'm so excited to see you guys join. I love working with my people, and I just love office hours so much because we get to actually all be together. It's so awesome.
So after this, I will go through, make sure if I didn't get any messages, if I missed you in the chat somehow, I will definitely be sending you, I will go through it in the replay and figure it out. We'll get you taken care of.
Yay. And Stephanie, I really hope that I get to see you at the summit. You got to be there. I know we've been just messaging back and forth for a couple of years now, so it'll be so
I was just going to say, she's been here for a while, so I'm super excited. Yeah.
I know. I'm so excited to meet so many of you in person. It'll be so nice finally see so many of you in person. I see a cutie on camera right there. Oh my God, Kijan, that is Kijan. Do you see how cute?
Oh,
you stole the show.
Oh, so cute.
Yep, totally. Okay, everybody. Well, we will let you go. I know we went over a little bit. Thank you for those of you who hung in there with us. We are so excited to start working with those of you who will be joining us. I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your day and do something to take care of you. I bought myself fresh flowers, so do something to take care of you too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.